on in here, you guys. We are back. I told y'all I was going to make another video, you guys, about, you know, where we left off at the other way. So you got to look at the video. Grandpa was a Rolling Stone. And then you'll understand why we're over here with this particular story today. So before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You know it costs how much? $0.00. So come on in and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and click the bell for notifications. Give the videos a thumbs up if you enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, who cares, honey? Get your life together and get out this page. Go watch another video. Maybe you like that one. You guys, I did not have any situation nor complications today. So it's all good. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead, y'all, and talk about what we was talking about for the last video. You know, y'all knows you really need to get y'all some business and things. Okay, so I left off talking about how Baron had said something to me about my granny. But I need y'all to put down in the comments, holy, honey, Maddie was holy, did no wrong. Nothing whatsoever. It was Baron and his foolishness. Never was that woman wrong. Not in my eyesight anyways. Okay, so let me give you like a backstory. Now, I explained to you how my granddaddy was. Now, here come his alter ego, which is his son, my dad. Here he comes. He was kind of just like my granddaddy. He picked up his whole entire spirit. Now, my granddaddy and Baron and my uncle and them did not have a good relationship with their dad whatsoever. I watched my granddaddy like lightweight demean my dad. Didn't know it was demeaning at the time, but as I go back and look at stuff, I realized he was demeaning to him. Like, you ain't never gonna be nothing. Can't keep a job. You know, get yourself together, life ain't right. And Baron, for the life of me, would not say anything. Now, as a child, I got to be honest, I was glad when my granddaddy would cut him up because I was catching stuff at home. So to see somebody bully the bully, basically, was refreshing to me. But when I look at it now from a grown perspective, both of them brothers, all three of them, my uncle, Baron, and my granddad, all three of them needed some type of counseling because they was all a mess, but they were all mirrors of one another. But yet and still, none of them really got along with each other whatsoever. Okay, so he would kind of demean Baron. So Baron was the same way. He was an alcoholic. He was grouchy. He was argumentative. He was manipulative. He was controlling. He wanted to run everything with a tight, you know, rein. He wanted to know where you at, what you're doing, who you with. I mean, it was like being in a, honey, you couldn't do nothing as a kid. We couldn't go anywhere because we was Jehovah's Witnesses. I think I mentioned that before. And so they consider it to be you're in the world but not a part of the world. So that means you can't go to volleyball games. You can't go to basketball games, you know, football games, homecoming, prom, all of those different things. Even though they allowed me to go to prom, I never went to any of my homecoming. I went to my senior prom and that was it. And I mean, it was a tight rein. But Baron really had a fascination. Now, he used to, like, really, he used to pick with Wendell. And remember, I told you guys, if you've been following me for a while, Wendell is my brother. Not was my brother. Is my brother. Okay. Is my brother that passed away. And he was gay. But he hadn't came out the closet. I never thought he was gay. Nobody ever thought he was gay besides my mom and my dad. I think they pinpointed it, but my mom never said anything. But Baron was very vocal and had a lot of derogatory things to say toward Wendell. He'd take little jabs at him. And I just think that to me is just sickening for a parent to bully a kid and take jabs, you know, petty jabs at him was just insane to me. But when it came to the girls, it was always on a sexual nature. Believe me, Bear never did anything, ever sexual with me and Tracy. That's not what I'm saying. But it was always, he harped on, leave them boys alone. Stay away from them. Y'all better not be out there having sex. Leave them boys alone. Stay away from them. You better not be out there having sex. Leave them boys alone. Stay out of it. And it was the same. And it's like, what the ham and cheese is it about sex that you keep talking about all the time? You're talking about boys being in your face, and we ain't even thinking about boys right now. Or we weren't even thinking about boys at that moment. And because he always ran it, never did he ever come and just say, hey, let me tell you about boys and relationships. Let's have this talk as to why I say stay away from them. You know, and walk us down that aisle, or show us what a relationship is supposed to be with a man and a woman. Show, you know, just tell us something outside of boom, boom, boom. If you keep telling the child, don't go in that room, I'm telling you right now, don't go in that room, don't touch that doorknob, don't go in that room, don't touch that doorknob. Eventually, it's going to put that curiosity so much on that door and doorknob because you're so fascinated with it. And it's like, well, what is it about the door? What is it about the doorknob? What's in there? You're going to go and touch it and do those things so you can try to figure out what is it that you keep harping about? Why do you keep saying this? If that makes sense to you. So that is all we ever freaking heard. And it was like, you know what? At this point, I'm just over it with Bear. So that was his whole thing, was constantly that. But we never really knew where it stemmed from. Is this just because I know he didn't hear it at home, because my grandma and grandpa had two boys. So you wasn't hearing stay away from the boys, stay away from the boys. I don't know if they said stay away from the girls, but he really harped on that. And it was normal. It was normal for him to call me and Tracy whores and sluts. That was just normal. That was normal words that we heard when it came to us, and we weren't even doing anything. Now, when we finally did get to the point where we were like sneaking around with boys, and if you got caught, I remember I told a story about Tracy getting caught running through the thicket bushes, honey. It was just whores and sluts and whores, but it was so harsh because at the end of the day, it's all just teenage stuff. You're discovering yourself. You're discovering your sexuality. You're discovering those, you know, that you're attracted to. You're just, and if you have sex, okay, that's part of the discovery. You know what I mean? But it was just so vile how he would come at it, like he had an issue that was deeper than what he was saying regarding just calling himself giving advice or trying to steer us in the right direction. And one day, so Bear used to get drunk all the time, and he want to go drive and get White Castles. And he would want to get White Castles like 2 something in the morning. But he never liked to ride by himself. And so we used to do these things where he said, come on, y'all, let's get in the car and just go riding. So, you know, Bear only had about $2 worth of gas. And we're like, where we going? We ain't going nowhere. We just riding. So that means we just going to go wherever the car turn, just look out the window or whatever. And so when he would get in these drunken stupors or situations, surprising, man, didn't get a DUI. He wanted to go get something to eat or drive or whatever. He wanted to go get something to eat, and he always wanted to go around there to White House because that was the only thing that was going to be open 24 hours back in that day. And he would want to go about 2 in the morning where my mom wasn't going to get up. So he would come in there, Sherry, come go ride with me. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, this glass is great. What are you talking about? I'm asleep. Let go with me, and I'll buy you some hamburgers. And me, cool, I'm gonna get up, because remember I told y'all we ate beans every day, and y'all really think I be playing about that, John? I am being so honest. Beans and water, and maybe cornbread. Beans and water, that's it. That's all we ate. So if you say hamburgers, honey, let me get up, put a shirt on, get some clothes on, and get on out this door. So one particular day, and I don't even know where it came from. I think he just needed to confess it out his soul or something. But we're riding in the car, and he was like, I know I be hard on y'all. Because one thing about a drunk person, A drunk person either is going to do one or two, a number of different things, but mainly two things. You're either going to get a drunk person that gets violent, or you're going to get a drunk person that's just going to start spilling their beans. And one thing about a drunk person, when they start spilling their beans, they normally telling the truth. You just, for some reason, I think you got to be sober to lie. It's just hard to lie when you're drunk. And you get people that are drunk that start telling all their feelings, and they'll start like that crying drunk. And so we're driving to White Castle, and he was like, I know I'm hard on y'all, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, man, I just want me 4 White Castles right about now, some onion chips. I don't care nothing about this, because I don't particularly, like you like that. It is what it is. But then he says, y'all, I'm like that because how would you feel if you were sitting on your porch at home and you would see men throughout the day or throughout the week come to your house and go in there with your mom? Yeah, we're going to let that sit for a minute. And then he said one day a guy had came out of the house that he had saw, I guess, regularly, and gave him a couple of dollars and told him, pat him on the head and said, your mom's an amazing lady, and left. Yeah. And so that is why he had such an issue with women, because of what he not experienced, or what he believed to be true about his mom. Now, mind you, he wasn't in the house, didn't know what was happening in the house. Maybe she'd been having an affair with somebody. I don't know. I don't know. But that is what he said. At that moment, I still didn't care. It still did not justify to me that you're calling me a whore and a slut. Because I'm not doing that. Never have. So why don't you have this conversation with your mom, who's alive, and talk to her about what you saw as a boy and what idea or concept you thought was going on from that, those encounters. Why don't you have that conversation with her and push that energy over there? Because you've been living with this woman and knowing this woman for your whole entire life. Now, how old Baron was at the time we was having this conversation, I really didn't know how old my parents was, to be honest, as no kid. I ain't asked them how old they was. I just knew they was older than me. But as many times as you've seen your mother in person, as many times as you could call her collect on the phone, you never had that conversation with her whatsoever. Like, hey, Ma, what was going on with the multiple guys? Now, I don't know if it was multiple through the week. Lord, I hope it wasn't multiple. Running a brothel, honey. Was Maddie running a brothel? I started like, you lying, or you ain't, my grandmama ain't do that. I don't know. That's what he said. Now, honey, I ain't asked nobody nothing. Because you just ain't going to talk about Maddie. I don't care what she did. She was nice to me. But what he said. And so that's why you decide to reign with an iron fist. But, bro, you're going about it the wrong way. Because that is not going to make anybody not do anything by calling them out of their name, calling them this, calling them that. That's not fair to us. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. And take that energy, that anger you got, and go over there and have a conversation with her. You an adult now. What's she gonna do? Whoop you? She either gonna deny it and you can continue to believe it, but you mad and you bitter because you got mommy issues. And we always talk about women that have daddy issues, but we very rarely talk about these men that have mommy issues. And when you can't respect a woman, and when you always demeaning a woman, and when you trying to control a woman and mistreat a woman and abuse a woman, do you got some mommy issues? Or did you see your daddy do it? What is it? So he has some mommy issues, and he was using that as the reason why you treating us like this. Y'all, honey, that was a mess. I don't know what was going on. I ain't never go back when I was grown, and I knew about that. I never went back and asked my grandma, Grandma, was you... Girl, I know you went for the streets. I know you ain't that. Was it a hot girl summer? You know, was they having hot girl summers pre-civil rights? I know back in the 70s, it was, what was the 70s era? Love and something like free love or something. Maybe she was caught up in that, baby. It was an era, honey. It was an era. She didn't really want to do it. It was in the atmosphere, honey. The vibe was love and stuff. I said, well, good Lord. Hey, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Maybe my granddaddy was like, hey, I'm getting my lick back. I'm going down here and pick up some hoes. Because you doing it first. Chad, I don't know who started what. Them two together. Hey, my grandmama and granddaddy was worse than Will and Jada. If y'all don't go on and get a divorce, because obviously y'all don't like each other. If you're moving like you're single, baby, they have been together for, and I found out, you guys, I found out because, God dog. And y'all talk about, I want a relationship. Like, no, the heck you don't. They was cheating and running brothels and getting up going to church every Sunday, honey. Working on the nurses guild, honey. Had the stiff hat on, baby, and the white stockings and them buffed up white shoes, baby, because she used to have some goddamn. She used to have a joint shoe polish, and on the end when you take the cap off of it, it had like a spongy thing. She be there shining on white shoes. Put them white old shoes on. Baby, I want to see how them shoes on when old dudes coming up. Oh, Florence Nightingale back was out there serving the boys. Ooh, my Lord, that was hot as Teresa. I can't believe it. I am destroyed. Thank God I'm in therapy. I got to go back and see my therapist, honey. Greg, let's talk. Honey, my grandmama was for the Teresa, honey. How am I supposed to really process this right here? Honey, who like to took me out? I said, I would have probably went off on bear, but I wanted them 4 white guys, so I let that slide, baby. But honey, there was a mess. That I say he said multiple. Wait a minute. I don't hear nothing. And who tells a child that anyways? I love this woman. Her and all them niggas. Baby, if it was a brother, she an entrepreneur, baby. What? know about grandma. I don't care what she was doing. Hey, the bills was due. I'm like, wait a minute, was it at the beginning of the month? Because you know the granddaddy was out there getting robbed by the hoes. So maybe I gotta do what I gotta do. I got 2 little boys here. I gotta make a shake. So I should have really asked him, dang, well, can't ask him now. So, was it the beginning of the month? Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta, do what you gotta do to make things happen. But if it was the middle of the month, okay, now maybe you just being nasty if it's the middle of the month, because ain't really no bills due but a little small bug grab. But it was the beginning of the month, written due, trying to keep a roof over your head and thing. But honey, so maybe it was for a purpose. Honey, honey. Woo! Let me stop. Let me just stop. Honey, I'm going back to my therapist, honey, because I cannot. Just to say that, honey, has really just traumatized me. And who tells a kid that anyway? And I just gotta look at like, God, is this what we get at 2, 3 in the morning? So next time he asks me to go to work, I ain't going nowhere. Because next thing you gonna say my mama out here doing something. I don't know, because you spill too many secrets when you're drunk. And you ain't supposed to be driving when you was drunk, because you should have got you something to eat before you came to the house, Dad. Gonna ride the kid around. I probably ain't have my seatbelt on, honey. This whole thing is just unhealthy. At this point, y'all going to bed. I'm messed up. And don't talk about my daggone grandma. But I found out that my grandma and granddaddy got married in 1942. 1942. I'm doing one of those DNA things, and I sent in like my little DNA so they can tell me what percentage I am or whatever. And they give you a whole bunch of other information. So it had a marriage certificate for my granddaddy, and it was 1942. So they got married in 1942. Let me get my calculator out, y'all, and get. Look, they was married in 1942, so my grandmother would have been 21. He would have been 22. Oh, they was married young. Okay, so 1942, and my granddaddy died in 1994. Take away 1942, so they was married for 52 years. Either 51 or 52, according to what the date was. 51 years, honey. But maybe they was maybe they was swingers. Ooh, I don't know, honey. All I know is get your own relationship, baby. Don't be up there admiring nobody else, because you don't know what shenanigans they got going on around there, y'all. Ooh, child, honey, I don't know what we gonna come back. We gonna get up off the stories, I tell you that much. Talk about my daggone family, baby. We gonna talk about this fog down here on the next podcast. This fog down here in New Orleans are carrying on. We're going to talk about that right there. That's some, honey, that right there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some other things, y'all. Honey, pray for my family, honey. Them folks done died with all kinds of secrets, honey. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notification, honey. Stay out them streets. Follow me on social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and on here too. You guys... Thanks for listening. God, but I made so weak out of it. And keep the... Don't let them in, y'all.